Oh, welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen. Guys, bringing you a news update from the greatest club in the world, from the most successful team in the world ever. Guys, we're going to talk a few different things today. Just on this video, I'm going to talk about Rangers coach Harry Whatling and how he may be departing the Jers this summer and why Michael Beale won't stand in his way. Also, what Rangers legend, former captain Barry Ferguson has had to say about the club as well in an interview that he gave to radio, and just a few other bits and pieces of news around Rangers as ahead of this weekend's game, obviously against Motherwell. Barry Ferguson, though, let's start with Barry Ferguson. Let's start with the former captain himself. Guys, just for housekeeping as well, whilst I'm thinking about it, please hit that sub, ring that notification bell. Guys, your support over the last few days has been phenomenal. We have grown this channel over 100 subs in the space of less than 24 hours. So please hit that sub, ring that notification, and let's keep on growing together. So anyway, what has Barry had to say about the club he loves, about the club he captained to such success? Well, he said that he insisted that Celtic are very, very stoppable, and it's not a case of unstoppable force. He said, though, Rangers will face a difficult task in stopping them. He did admit that Celtic have been outstanding this season, which probably would have been hard for him to say, especially given the fact that they've lost only once this season to St Mirren. That was back in September. And also the fact that Celtic beat Rangers in the Viaplay Cup final. Now, obviously, with only 8 games remaining, it looks like the best chance of silverware that Rangers have, obviously, is the Scottish Cup. And, Ferguson spoke about the fact that he thought that that was obviously something that Michael Beale and the team must do, not to end this season trophyless. I think we all echo that, that really is the need, that we cannot, under any circumstances, end this season trophyless. And let's face it, we'd never hear the end of it from them, would we? If they, they beat us in the semi and they went on to win the treble. I mean, can you imagine the hell over the summer listening to that unwashed, scummy mob going on and on and on about it? Anyway, this is what Ferguson had to say. He said, they are a very good team, but they are stoppable. There's no doubt. He said that Rangers need to make sure they get their signings spot on in the summer with their recruitment. He said, there's no denying that Celtic are on absolute fire just now, winning games and going to difficult places and getting results. It's up to Rangers to try and stop that, which obviously is obvious. I think, there is that need for us to do something about it. There really is, a key thing in what he says there, that summer is going to be absolutely vital for the club. He then went on to say, the next 3 or 4 months is massive for Rangers going into next season. Rangers know what they need to do. They need to keep on their coattails in the league, but it's going to be very difficult. One thing they need to do is keep that Scottish Cup at Ibrox, and obviously the semi-final coming up against Celtic at the end of April, obviously, will be the opportunity we have there to really lay down a marker as well. And if we can beat them, then obviously that is something that will really send a signal, I think, to Celtic ahead of next season, that we are not going away, that we are not just going to go quietly into the night, and that we will keep fighting with them. Ferguson also said, I think the 2 that he brought in January have definitely strengthened the Rangers squad. Raskin and Cantwell I've been really impressed with them over the last couple of weeks. That's 3 games they've played in the space of a week, so their fitness levels will be climbing because they hadn't played a lot of football. I would be shocked if they are not in conversation with a number of players down south or abroad, wherever it may be. They know how important it is to make sure a strong team to make a big challenge to Celtic next season. I would like to hope that Rangers recruitment, they are in the early doors of that, and the first day of pre-season, they are ready and locked in to go for their targets. I think that's absolutely vital. I think, if you look at Celtic and why they've had success over recent years, they have very much done their business very, very early and got those players in early so they can work with the players straight away. And it's not a case of them playing catch up. And that is something that Rangers need to make sure they do this summer, is any signings they make are made nice and early so they can come in, work with the squad, and Michael Beale can build that squad into a coherent team. Barry Ferguson also spoke about Alfredo Morelos. He, obviously had his own opinions, as we all have our own opinions on Alfie. He said, I think Morelos 100% is gone. I watched Michael Beale's interview after the game. It looks as if it's curtains. Ryan Kent, I'm still unsure. I'm swaying towards he will leave, but if they agree a new contract with Ryan, I will be more than happy. So obviously, I think that is a fear, with the fact that obviously teams in the Premier League, like Leeds United, and possibly Burnley, if their transfer embargo is lifted, are interested in signing Kent, and the lower Premier League football down south may be a big one for Ryan Kent. But certainly that is what Ferguson had to say. I agree with that. Celtic are not unstoppable. There is, I think, an opportunity there to stop them. But I think, this summer is absolutely massive. The fact that we will need to do our business early and get those players in nice and early for Beale to work with and form a coherent team. In addition to that, I think obviously the semi-final is going to be a key one for me to really lay down a marker. Rangers need to do that to really send a signal to Celtic that we are not going anywhere and that we will be fighting them all the way next season. Okay, next bit of news. Let's talk about this man here, who is Rangers coach Harry Whatling on the coaching staff of Michael Beale. Whatling is only 33 years old. He does look old in that photograph, doesn't he? But he is someone who is attracting a lot of attention for managerial vacancies south of the border. A number of League One Championship teams have expressed an interest in speaking to Whatling as regards any vacancies that are possibly coming up. Obviously, Oxford is one that is now gone. But there's a chance that there may be a vacancy at Everton. That is somewhere that apparently they are very interested in having a conversation with Harry Whatling. Whatling has been a vital part of Beale's coaching staff. However, Michael Beale has said that if someone approaches Harry Whatling to become a manager of their team, he will not stand in Harry's way and will give him the opportunity to go and speak to them and see if that is the right vacancy for him. Obviously, that will be a big loss from the coaching staff. Obviously, the new coaching staff that have come in have done a great job with the Rangers team, turning them around, really getting them playing some positive football again and getting this team moving in the right direction. We'll create, obviously, a vacancy on the coaching staff for Michael Beale to fill. But, as Gerrard gave him the opportunity to go off and develop himself as a manager, I'm pretty sure that Michael Beale will do the same with Harry Whatling. So it could be that he is going to leave in the summer. So, in a way, this is a bad thing, obviously, to lose a coach and obviously lose a good coach. You want to keep hold of your best coaches and your best people behind the scenes, the people to work with the players. However, it is also a positive that, our coaching staff is doing a good job. They're attracting attention from others. I cover a lot of American sports, and in American sports, they talk about the head coach or the manager, in a way, having a coaching tree. Managers or coaches that go off to do other head coaching or other manager jobs around the NFL, and it shows good. It shows that head coach is doing a good job, that he is able to foster his coaches and bring them through. So I suppose that is one encouraging thing, that Michael Beale is bringing on his coaches. So that is a really big positive on that aspect. Another bit of news, Castore, who are Rangers kit manufacturers, Manchester-based kit manufacturers, have announced that they will be making the Republic of Ireland's kit next season. This has caused a great deal of dismay amongst our sweaty, smelly, unwashed, soap-dodging friends from across the city. With the fact that Castore are obviously associated with Rangers, apparently this may lead to a boycott of Celtic fans buying Republic of Ireland kits because of the Castore name on it. It really does show they are the most pathetic bunch of losers on this planet. They really are sad losers. And as we all know, they're not a Scottish team anyway. They are an Irish team. And the sooner they go off back to the League of Ireland where they belong, the better. Anyway, I just thought that was a bit of a funny story just to end with, taking the mickey out of our nearest and dearest from across the city, the great, smelly, unwashed, dodgy, soap-dodging scumbags that they are. Anyway, guys, please keep me up with any content you'd like me to cover, any stories you'd like me to look at, any players you'd like me to do features on, please drop a comment as well. You can also find me in all of these different places. Hit that sub, obviously, ring that notification bell at Glasgow Nation on Twitter, Glasgow Rangers Nation on Instagram. I also now have a company email address that you can reach me on as well, where you can drop me an email of any content you want covered, or send any pictures from the game that you'd like me to feature on the podcasts. That's another thing that I would love to do is, if you've got some game pictures, from when you've attended Ibrox or even away games, then please feel free to drop those in and send them to me in an email, and I'll be more than happy to put them onto the podcast that's coming up, and the podcast that will be coming up, and to give you a shout out as well on the podcast for your pictures. I'm going to bring that email address up in just a moment, if you just bear with me. Okay, so here we go again. There's all that contact information and the email address there, GlasgowRangersNation@gmail.com. That's where you can find me. Please drop me an email. as well. Always love to hear from fellow Rangers fans. No surrender, guys. No surrender ever, especially to that horrible green and white mob from across the city. I'll be back very soon to speak to you here on Glasgow Rangers Nation.